My name is Dr. Connie Daniels, and I am going to be your instructor for this class. So the name of the class is Introduction to Programming Using Python. So I want you to notice something. I'm not just here to teach you Python. Really, what I want to teach you is I want to teach you about programming. What does it mean to put together code? And then towards the end, we will focus specifically on starting to give you the initial tools to actually code in Python. Once you've learned how to program, you can take that skill and apply it to whatever programming language you want to apply it to. Python happens to be a fairly easy language to learn and a very applicable language in many different fields. And that's why we're going to be using Python to start showing you specific programming syntax. Okay, so let me go in a little bit more into detail about what we'll be covering. First, you're going to get a computer overview. I know that you all know what, a screen is and a keyboard and a mouse is, but there's a little bit more information that you should know about computers. Terms like RAM and operating systems and things like that. In order to be a skilled user of a computer, you really need to start learning what some of those terminology is and really understand the different parts of computers. Just as a background, some of the parts of this course will be videos that I'm going to share with you from that somebody else has put together. Much of it is going to be videos that I'm going to be sharing with you. And as we get into coding in the last part of the class, I'm going to be asking you to play around on your own computers. I'll show you how to set up a quick, easy Python environment, and I'll be asking you to do the coding on your own. So that's the first part. The second part is we're going to talk about programs. Programs, you can think of it as being the language of computers, right? So we're going to introduce how computers read code. Third part is called creating algorithms. So an algorithm, which we're going to go more detail, is just a series of steps that you're taking to solve a problem. If you want to think about it like a recipe, so a recipe for challah, like what do you put in, right? You put in, you take this ingredient, they take that ingredient, you stir it together, and then you put it in the oven or however it is, or you beat the eggs or whatever your instructions are, right? It's a sequence of events or a sequence of tasks that you need to do in order to accomplish one goal in the end. And that's really what an algorithm is. So it's thinking about what the problem is and thinking about all the different steps and constraints that you potentially have to take into account in order to solve the problem that you're doing. The next is computational thinking, and that's really breaking down algorithms one step further, meaning how to come up with the best algorithms. And remember that the algorithms that you're going to try and solve, or the problems that you're going to try and solve in a computer, tend to get a little bit more complicated than recipes, right? Recipes tend to be, you do this and then you do that and then you do that and then you come up with your end product. And yes, some recipes are much more complicated than others, but nevertheless, there's a series of instructions that you can follow. Some of the algorithms that you're going to have to come up with are going to be a little bit more complicated than that. So I'm going to start trying to give you some of those tools that you'll need to have in order to be able to think about the problems and create the algorithms that will be solved. After that, I'm going to teach you universal programming principles, meaning there are some concepts that are there across all programming languages. So before I even get into Python specifically and the syntax of Python, I want to teach you those concepts. So there'll be variables, conditional statements, loops, and functions or procedures. That slash just means the same concept is either called a function or a procedure. Then finally, you're going to be introduced to Python. I'm going to help you see an environment that you can set up. Like I said, that should be fairly easy, where you can actually play around in Python. And then some of those universal programming concepts that we introduced, in section 5, let's say, I'm going to take you through and show you how you can set them up and use them in actual Python, and you'll start writing some code. Okay, looking forward to a great class. Sorry, just going to take a second to stop recording.